What it? You did? What is it about? Okay, when you said that, did I say that sound like Once Upon a Time? Okay, cause that's what you need to watch.
Wait, so where'd that come from though?
Thank you for tuning in to the DBYT podcast. I'm Taisha, and today we have Jaylin. So he does men's mental health coaching. Can you tell them a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So I am a men's coach, and primarily I focus on working with men that have self-doubt, low confidence, a lack of confidence, and are trying to improve the areas of their life such as relationships, wealth, and health. So I help them go to the next level. I have the #1 coaching business in Georgia for men. So definitely I'll be excited to share this story with y'all.
Okay. I'm glad that you're already on the story path. So how did you get into this?
It's a good question. So I've always been a person of like self-development and wanted to be better and just improving my life overall. But a little bit about my story. So I grew up in Detroit, and like there's a lot of different elements in Detroit that I'll explain later, but more so personally about me, I've always been a person that struggled with confidence and I had what's called body dysmorphia growing up.
I have that now.
So
yeah.
If y'all don't know what body dysmorphia is, it's basically you see yourself in a light or in a space that's not really who you are. So when I was growing up, I always had this thought that I was like fat or like overweight.
Yeah.
And feeling like that, I always like downplayed myself, and it was messing with my mind as well, like my mindset. So I was a hooper, and when I was playing ball, so if you look at any picture of me now, like, or from then, I was super skinny all the time. And even since I had that thought in my mind that I was like big or like overweight, it slowed me down on the court, even though I wasn't actually that size or that weight. So long story short, I've always been a person that's been focused on self-development, improving, landed into my first job after college, being a consultant, working with adults to help them self-improve, and then I took that into my own business and what I'm doing now.
Okay. I do want to pick on one part. In your case, was it people telling you and it kind of slowly made you believe it, or was it just always a self thing?
That's a good question. So it really started again, from Detroit, when I moved to Georgia, that's when I first experienced roasting. Like, I didn't really know what roasting was in Detroit, but when I moved to Georgia, it was like, I ain't gonna cuss. People was just roasting, you know what I'm saying? And then, like, that's when I started to really start looking at myself in a different way. Like, oh, damn, like, why people calling me fat or calling me this or calling me that? And that's when it all formed and started in my formative years when I was, again, elementary, middle school, until I started to glow up.
Right. That's okay. What did y'all call it in Detroit?
We really ain't. So I went to a private school. Like, I was in Detroit. I was in the hood, but I went to a private school too. So they didn't really.
That wasn't the culture.
That wasn't what we was wearing uniforms and all of that. So.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I was like, yeah, we've been joning, roasting, and getting on. Yeah, we do that. And honestly, it sucks. I know it sucks.
It builds character, though. It does help you. It'll learn you how to, you can flame somebody real quick after you really learn. But
yeah, when
you in that age and the stage where you really don't know how to roast back and you just kind of like taking it.
Yeah. Are you an only child or like?
I got 2 little sisters.
Got you.
6 years apart and then 9 years apart.
See, I got brothers.
Are you the youngest or?
No, I am the second oldest. But I have 1 older brother, and then I got 4 little brothers, and I got a little sister.
Okay.
So that I was already ready. I was ready for it. Then how my family kind of get on with people. They jokingly do things, but I know sometimes it can stick with people.
Got truth.
So you can't if you feel some type of way about yourself, I wouldn't recommend coming to the family functions.
I'm trying to tell you.
Because it's all fun and games, but I know some people do take it a little bit more serious than others.
For sure.
Were there any times along your journey, on your way to becoming a coach, that you wanted to kind of turn away from it?
Oh, hell yeah. All the time. Like, so when you're dealing with the work that I do, it's not always tangible. So when you work with people want to say, all right, how can you help me immediately make $10,000 a month or something like that? if you're doing mindset work, you have to. You can't always say, all right, it's intangible. Is what I'm saying. Sometimes,
right?
Like it changes the way that you think, which people don't know that the way that you think actually creates the money and creates more opportunities for you, your reality.
Yeah.
But have I ever thought about quitting? Absolutely, because sometimes it's really being a coach, you have to instill confidence in somebody else and instill belief in somebody else that they can do something, and everybody doesn't always believe that. So sometimes I feel like I have felt like I've always wanted to motivate. I had to motivate people to do something that I wanted something for somebody else more than they wanted it for themselves.
Got you.
And it used to really bother me on that behalf. And then sometimes, whenever you start a business or like a podcast, or it's hard in those beginning years where nobody's supporting you.
Yeah.
Nobody want to repost your stuff. Nobody want to show love. They don't want to see no money, see no bread. They don't want nothing. It's like, damn, you don't mess with me. So I had to get past those formative stages of doing what I'm doing now.
Right. So, okay, what was the thing that was like, yeah, I know that y'all not supporting me, but I'm going to still keep going?
Oh, no, just wait on it. I'm going to turn up. That's what it is. It's like, I really what it is, I really focus on this a lot with my clients as well, is I know that for me, it's not about gaining support.
Yeah.
I don't need that. Like, it would be great, but for me, that keeps me going is just the vision that I have for myself. Is like knowing where I'm going, knowing that I'm going to achieve the things that I have in my mind, and feeling that emotion when I, envision it or I meditate on it. Me knowing that I have a deeper purpose that God put me on this earth for, regardless of what anybody else support me with or not. I mean, that's ground level things. I don't need that.
Right.
So just anchoring in on my purpose, anchoring in on what God wants me to do is what continues to help me to go forward every day.
Now, I don't know if I missed this part. How long have you been doing this?
So I've been coaching. So unofficially, I started when I was in college.
Okay.
So 2019 is when I graduated from college. I kind of aged myself down. But, so I graduated from college, and that was my last job before I graduated. I was a peer coach, and I was helping students to game plan a strategy for how they can basically improve their grades.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily know I was doing it at that point. I've always, in my whole life, I've always been a mentor. Like, even back to middle school, I've been a mentor. But coaching officially started when I was in college, peer education or peer coaching students. And then from there, my first job I landed, I was coaching, didn't know I was doing it. And my mentor, he the one that put me on and said, hey, have you ever thought about actually learning how to coach people? And I was like, what is that? Like, what does that look like? Then I went to a school or institution that taught me how to actually coach. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of people out here that's out here saying they coaching, they just telling you what to do. That's not coaching.
Right.
It's a difference. And learn how to do it, and then went from there and just kept going, kept building.
So what are some of the biggest obstacles, challenges, or hardships that you faced while building this career and opportunity for your community?
Okay, so what is the biggest challenges I've faced while building this? Belief in myself. Because, again, just going back to the point of posting, getting online, having confidence that you can actually help somebody.
Yeah.
That's one of the steps. But also it's the fact that you got to put yourself out there consistently. Again, coming from somebody that dealt with low confidence, low self-esteem, always being able to show up, speaking in front of people, speaking on stages, or speaking to my clients, or putting myself out there in social media, making videos, like that was the hardest part for me, because I'm thinking about, what are they gonna think? Are they gonna rock with me? Are they gonna repost my video? Are they gonna like the video? Are they gonna do this? Are they gonna share? Is anybody gonna buy it? Do people believe in me? I'm thinking all this stuff in my head, and it's stopping me from even putting it out there for that one person that might need that message for the day.
I resonate with that a lot, just because of the fact that I don't post for nobody except myself. Okay. I literally watch my story how many times a day? And I'm like, if it makes me happy, I know people watch. People will watch you way more than they'll like or comment or repost. Like, I think that's just in their nature. I don't know if they don't want you to blow up, but then when you do, that's when all the support roll in. And it's like, I don't do it for them. I do it for the people who are in my community. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
People who actually are looking to better themselves and seek something outside of themselves. Because I know some people can't do it alone. And that's why I really was, how would you say, gravitated towards your page for real. Because I was like, wow, like, especially when I seen the part where it's like, I do this for men. You know what I'm saying? Because especially being a black person, I know that it could be tough. So what are some of the situations that or how does that coaching process look more so?
Yeah, so everything I do is tailor-made to the client. So everybody is different. So although the reasons may be the same, such as, again, confidence, maybe it's self-doubt, low self-esteem, or just lack of belief, typically it's all surrounded in one or two of those buckets. However, everybody is dealing with a different struggle. So one of those clients that may be dealing with a lack of confidence may have a problem with being social. Like they don't know how to go out and talk with people or have communication, or maybe it comes to women like, oh, I want to meet all these women and talk to women, but I don't know how. Like, I don't know where do I start? Yeah. That's a different situation from somebody that wants to, for example, I had a guy wanted to start a podcast. Right. Didn't want to put himself out there. Had a guy that wanted to travel and travel the world on his own solo. Nobody along a company with him. He wanted to do that, but there was some barriers in the way. But again, to this day, right now, he's actually in Panama right now, right? So he's traveling the world, living his best life, making money on the road, and investing in real estate with me. Like, we're doing a lot of different things. But again, the whole problem for someone it's all about getting to the root. Yeah. You have to get down to the root. There's ultimately, it may show up in procrastination for most people. Like, oh, procrastination, I don't want to do it. I can't post it. I'm putting things off to the side. But ultimately, it ain't just about I'm procrastinating. There's something else that's there that you're not going to be able to get to on your own. Yeah. Or you're going to keep going in the same circles over and over and over again.
Okay. So to me, it sounds like therapy in a way. What would you say the difference is between coaching and like being a therapist?
That's a great question. So the difference between coaching and therapy is based upon people that have severe stressors, like severe anxiety, severe depression, things that are keeping them stuck from the past, like childhood traumas, PTSD, or any of those type of situations. Okay. Coaching is all about, how do I move forward? Like, I use this analogy. It's like a road trip. So anytime you get on a road trip and you're going, let's say you want to go like a 10-hour trip, you driving. Yeah, right. So you're going on a long trip. Before you get on that trip, what do you want to do? You want to make sure your engine is good, your tires is good, all your fluids is there, everything's straight. Everything is good. Yeah. That's therapy. Before you get on the road, before you move forward to your destination, you want to make sure everything is good. Okay. Now, coaching is when we actually, all right, let's turn the car on, let's get on the road, let's go towards the destination. How are we going to get there? What's the route? What's the barriers? What's the detours we might have to make? Right. Coaching is that. Like, how do we game plan a strategy to get you to your destination with this minimal time wasted and addressing all of the detours or all of the bumps in the road that might come along with it?
Do you ever suggest to your clients, like, hey, maybe this is not what you need to start off with? Maybe you need to go to therapy
first.
Definitely,
for sure, because the work that I do is you have to be very ethical. Now, could I take every client? Absolutely. But, I mean, I could take them, but I don't, because it's ethics. Like, I don't want to deal with somebody or work with somebody and say I can help you, take your money, and I don't actually transform you. Right. I want to only work with people that don't need therapy. And again, that's why I have an intake session. I have a conversation before I work with anybody. Because some of their problems, like you said, it might be childhood related. It might be PTSD. It might be some really severe anxiety that I am not equipped to work with at this time. Right.
I think that's good that you have an ethical mindset, just because of the fact that a lot of people not going to do that, especially when you living in our economy. Mm-hmm. Because they like, I got this bill that need to be paid. Mm-hmm. But it's good that you keep your work honest.
Oh, yeah. I got to, because one, being a coach, my personal brand is my business. So if I go out and I say I can help somebody and I take their fee and I don't help them transform, now they're going to be calling me whatever, and everything online. And in the age that we live in now, if anybody make any accusations about you, done. You got to address it.
Or you're like, literally. Like, I know, I only do this if it's horrible, horrible service. But it was one time at IHOP. Shorty was trying me. And it's like she tried to avoid me the whole time, and it was crazy because it was like she got mad because I knew what I was supposed to have, and she didn't bring it, even though she took the order. And I was trying.
IHOP though?
Yes. And it was crazy because I'm just sitting, we're done eating and everything, and I'm just like, so she just not gonna come. Then when she does send somebody else, she was like, bye y'all. I was like, oh yup. Yeah, I'm writing a review today. And I never came back.
Yeah. But I see that a lot with like business owners with like I feel like I see a lot of women post about like they didn't get their bundles or something, or they didn't get they clothes or something.
That stuff is expensive.
I'm already knowing. So that's what I'm saying. You gotta protect it. If you're a business owner, you gotta protect your brand first because you can get tarnished out here, and you gotta address it.
You gotta do right by people though. You can't be in a people's business but be for yourself. Like that's selfish.
Especially on the way up too, because while you building your formative years, I say years, I think like 1 to like 5.
Yeah.
You can't really work through an accusation just yet. You got to be established. So it takes time.
How has your work directly impacted individuals in your community? And like, do you have any stories that stand out to you that are meaningful to you?
Absolutely. So the first story that comes to mind, I had a client. He was in college at the time. I think he was a sophomore. The semester before I worked with him, he was dealing with some couple of, and now mind you mentioned the therapy part. He also had a therapist. He had a psychotherapy. He had a couple other things going on as well along with my coaching. But he had some suicidal ideation that he was working through. He had like I think like a 1.5 GPA. Like he was really going through it. Wanted to drop out, everything. His parents brought me in. Now, mind you, I don't only work with students, but this particular client was a student.
Yeah.
The one semester that I worked with him, we did a lot of mindset work. The semester before, he had a 1.5 GPA. He had a couple of things happen on campus. He was another client that was scared to speak in public. He was scared to have conversations with people, make friends, because he had a lot of, I'll go into it later, but he had a lot of these things that I call a mindset pitfall that he had in person, which stopped him from speaking to people.
Yeah.
So with this client, in one semester, we turned his 1.5 GPA around to a 3.6.
Okay.
He was able to join so many different organizations on campus. He's going out. His business is thriving now. Like, he had an amazing transformation in only a few months, and this client is doing really well. So I just want to highlight that, and I'll stop there.
Now, I know that you just said that he had a pitfall, or that's what you use, right? Is that, does he not have social anxiety?
So it could be potentially rooted in social anxiety, but basically what a pitfall is, it's called a mindset pitfall. Everybody has them. It's basically the way that all of us think as human beings. We all think in patterns. So for example, I'll name a couple of them. So anytime, let's say somebody going on a job interview and they're like, okay, I got an interview, bet. Before they get to that interview, their mind goes through something. Like, you start thinking in a certain way.
Yeah.
And that may be, oh, well, the last job I had, they ghosted me, or they ain't emailed me back, or it was a waste of my time. And then you start putting these things in your mind before it actually happens.
Okay.
And then you start acting like that. Then you're like, man, this job ain't going. I already know how this about to go.
So like how would you call like a?
In short, it's called fortune telling. Like, you're fortune telling how something is gonna actually happen.
Okay.
So then you start taking these actions that actually manifest what happens in your world. So a lot of that I see happen with my clients in the social space. They're like, well, I went out and I spoke to this girl last two weeks ago, and she rejected me, so I know it's gonna happen again. I'm like, how do you know that's gonna happen again?
With a different person.
With a whole different person, whole different scenario, whole different situation. Why are you telling yourself that this is gonna happen?
It sounds like it's rooted in fear or something, like, or like they're scared of rejection or something.
Boom, right there. That could be a root cause. But again, you got to keep digging. Like, where does that come from? Why do you have a fear of rejection? What does that mean to you? Why? Like, and really just going all the way in with it. And again, I focus on men because men, we don't have that support.
Right.
And I think the narrative is changing now when we're talking about being open enough to talk about these mental barriers or these mindset pitfalls, but there are not a lot of men that have someone to talk to, especially not a black man to talk to about it, that knows what the hell I'm talking about.
Right. I think some of it as well, I don't know for sure, because I'm not a professional like he is, but I think a lot of it comes from like even trust, because I know just because I'm a woman and you can talk to me, it doesn't mean that I know exactly where you're coming from, because I'm not a man. So it's like, that's why I try to not to be like, oh, well, men do this and men do that. That's not really my place. That's why I like people like you to come on and explain what y'all actually go through and how y'all actually see the world, because that's not my lens, you know?
Yeah, that's real. On the men's side of things as well, it's men, we think that just because we're men, we got to figure it out on our own.
Right.
Like, oh, well, I got to be better. I got to make some more money. I got to invest. I got to be better in the gym. Then why aren't you paying somebody to help you do that? Mm-hmm. You go through and a lot of men like to go on the internet and look on YouTube and get all the free information. And then when it's time to change, they don't change because it's free. It's nothing is tailored to you, which is why I'm saying that coaching, and specifically in my business, I have the best coaching program because everything is tailored.
Right.
Everything is to what that person needs specifically.
In a way, is it like a motivational push? Like, in a way?
It could be motivational. It's more so, in a way, I think maybe a better word would be like accountability. Okay. Like every week, you're going to see me. Now, I'm not saying that in a way.
Y'all see each other that often?
I see all my clients every single week.
Okay.
And on top of that, I have a group. It's called the Men's Elevation League, and we meet Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, every single week. And it's completely free, so if you want to join into the league, you definitely can. Completely free. Go on my page, comment the number 8, and I'll send you the link for free. And you can get in on that and just get a community of people that's going to support you as well.
That word, the community part. That's where people, I think, tend to feel like they're alone. And that's why I do this. Y'all know that. I always talk about it. It's not even about, oh, I'm the only person going through it. You just think that you are. But when you see that if you get into a space where people can actually be there for you, support you, and y'all can strategize on how to elevate, it'll be, the whole outcome will be so different. Yep. Now, earlier you did speak on actually speaking. Talk about that. I know that sounds weird, but how did you become so articulate?
You know, that's first of all, thank you. I appreciate that. And I say public speaking was my number one fear in my entire life. So like when I started, again, coming up, I was always timid, always a kid on the side of the room, scared, nervous, all of that. But in college, I really started to step even more into that. Like every time I had a presentation, I would freeze up. Every single time I'd be talking, I just freeze up. Like, no, it was sad. Like I was out bad a lot of the time. And I started to notice this in myself because, again, regardless of what you do, you're going to have to address it at some point in your life. So I started to get involved on like different organizations, e-boards, like learning how to speak. That still wasn't doing it though. Like I was still not getting what I needed. Like I was getting opportunities, still freezing up, whatever. But what really helped me to become a better speaker was my first job out of college, ironically, took me back to Detroit, and I was public speaking every day. Every single day. I had to speak in front of a group of adults. Again, fresh out of high school, fresh out of college, 22 years old, and now I'm teaching and training adults that are 30 plus, 40 plus every single day. Right. So that's what got my reps up. Twice a day, an hour and a half to 4 hours a day, I'm speaking in front of the whole room. Nervous as hell every day.
How did you cover that up? Because I know you were nervous because you saying that you was nervous. So how did you get through that?
I couldn't hide that. I was nervous, but I learned tools of the trade. It's like when you speak, it's certain things that you just don't do. Like don't go up to the audience and say, I'm nervous.
Oh, yeah, no.
Now they're going to be looking at you like, oh, he is shaking a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Look at him sweating.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to do stuff like that. Just, I had to change my whole, again, this is mindset. It's like, instead of me thinking before I had to go speak somewhere, I might be sweating or like my hand, I'm nervous. Like I feel it I just feel it. Yeah. Instead of me saying, oh, I'm sweating because I'm nervous, it's going to sound cheesy as hell. Instead of me saying I'm sweaty because I'm nervous, I just say I'm sweaty because I'm ready.
All right, SpongeBob.
I had to get that one off.
All right, okay.
Yeah, no, for real. But again, that's just like those simple mindset shifts that helped me to embrace what was about to happen rather than running away from it.
Yeah. Now, I will say I did have public speaking issues at one point in my life too. I don't know if I still have it because I don't do it as much. Mm-hmm. But when I got to college and I had to actually take the course, I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. So I get up there and I'll be like, all of these are my friends. Yep. And I just perform. Mm-hmm. That's all I used to do because I'm like, if you think about it, a lot of the times, especially in college settings, they don't care about what you're talking about. They don't even, like, most of the time they're not even paying attention. So it's like, you got to ground yourself and be like, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
These my people.
Mm-hmm.
They know what I'm here to do, and that's how I used to get through it.
Straight up.
What do you see as the biggest needs for men in the community, and how do you aim to address these needs?
What do I see as the biggest need?
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest need in the community of men right now is the fact that they just don't know that they need help.
Mm. How did you come?
I thought you felt that one. But
I did. I have brothers.
Okay.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like they are all different.
Mm-hmm.
So I see so many different paths of just men. So
Yeah.
I know that all of them aren't alike, you know what I'm saying? And even outside of that, my family is huge.
Yeah.
So it's like I know that I advocate for men all the time. Like, I'm not the type of person to just put men down. I love talking to them about their issues and trying to hear them out and see, like, why do you think the way that you do?
Yeah.
And, you know, so that, it did touch me, though.
I can expound on that a little bit. So men lack self-awareness.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of men are, men, we in general, you know, we walk around and we feel like this frustration, we feel this anger, we feel like all these different emotions, and we don't know why. We just like, man, I don't know what it is. I think it might be money, it might be my girl, it might be, but you don't necessarily know why it is. And that lack of self-awareness also contributes into what we've been talking about this whole time, as far as you don't know why you're not executing at the highest level.
Right.
You don't know why you're not starting that business. You don't know why you haven't stayed consistent in the gym. You don't know why your relationships aren't thriving. It's because of your lack of awareness. And again, it typically is all rooted in something. But again, men don't lack the self-awareness enough to know that that is a problem. And if they don't know that it's a problem, then how do they know where to seek support?
Right. They don't know how to fix it
and get guidance or coaching. So that's what I think is the biggest problem, is lack of self-awareness, lack of knowing what the problem is and being able to change it.
So for people who have a lack of direction in their life, what advice do you have for them?
Got you. So what I would recommend for any man that does not necessarily know what to do, where to go, what your purpose is, what you want to do in life, you need to get in touch with your values. And what are your values? Your values are the things or the words in which you define to be important to you. So a lot of us are operating, I would say, let's compare it to like an iPhone.
Okay.
If you're operating from an iOS 14 system, or let me back up a little bit. That might be kind of recent. If you're operating from iOS 6 and it's iOS 17 or whatever we on now, you're going to be acting as if you back in that generation. And that's where the values come in. Your values is what's going to upgrade your internal system.
Yeah.
So men need to know, okay, yeah, this was important to me when I was in high school. This was important to me when I was in college. This is what was important to me when I graduated, or even if you didn't go to college. This is when I was at this old job with this old girl. This is what was important to me then. Mm-hmm. But today,
you need to update
you need to update your system. The new iOS is out. You got to get it. So in order to understand that, you need to tap in with your values. And in order to tap into your values, there's a couple different things you can do, but just look at a list of words, choose your top 5, and create goals around that.
Yeah.
Like, these are my 3 goals in this area. Now, if you don't necessarily know how to find your values and what that looks like, again, you can go on my page and you can shoot me a message, and I can send you a free values assessment, completely free.
Y'all heard him. So why do you think men's mental health is often overlooked or stigmatized, and how do you help to break that barrier?
I think that's a good question. I think that men's mental health is overlooked because, I mean, that's just the way it's always been. You know, again, it's been iOS 6 operating off this system that men have to be this certain image or fit this certain identity, and a part of that identity is typically being a provider, and that's all of that. I agree with that. I'm not saying nothing's wrong being a provider and being a man. However, men, it just hasn't been something that's talked about. So I think that we are in the space that it is changing, that things are changing, because it's becoming more widely known and more talked about and more normalized. So we get into that new generation. However, in order for it to change, it must continue to be talked about, continue to be mainstreamed, and have people of influence to have these types of conversations in order for people to be willing to talk about and be vulnerable and share their story.
You brought up provider, which made my mind go to relationships. So what values do you see are important for that area of someone's life? Or maybe your life, whichever.
Yeah. So I don't think I can ever tell somebody what's important to them.
Right.
I've never lived their life. I don't know. But I think for me, when it comes to family, I think about legacy. I think about just being a good role model, a good example, and just being a leader, leading the way. Because I don't have kids personally, but if I were to have kids right now, I would want to not only be telling them, but showing them.
Right.
Because I've seen it's a lot of men out here that could talk the talk, but not really walking the walk. You know what I'm saying? And it's just as important that the words that you're saying is also followed by the word or the actions that you're taking, because people are always watching. The people that look up to you, whether you know it or not, they always watching you. Especially if you're a man, a black man at that, you got to really be aware of how you out here moving, because people watching.
You never know who you influencing.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, boy. And then on top of that, I'm not even going to just say the people that are being in awe over you or watching. The people who are waiting for your downfall are also watching you. So it's like you have to constantly make sure that not that you're proving to them, but proving to yourself that you can stay consistent enough to make sure that you follow suit.
That's a bar. I think a lot of people don't think enough about proving to themselves.
Yeah.
It ain't about nobody else.
It's not.
I think a lot of times we focus on like who worried about us falling off or who worried about us failing. And I don't give a damn. Excuse me.
You good?
I don't give a damn. Like, I don't care who waiting on my downfall. It ain't gonna happen.
Right.
And I'm doing it, and I know it ain't gonna happen because it's for me. I'm not gonna let myself down, let alone somebody else that I don't even think and care about. You know what I'm saying?
They thinking about you all day long, and you just like existing.
And that might be true, and it might not. I don't know what they think about. I don't care what they think about. Because we can put in our minds that people thinking about us and they doing this, but they probably don't even. They probably don't care either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I guess I'm more so speaking on like the people that you know for a fact, and I know sometimes it's hard to see that, but I've seen it.
Okay.
Personally, and
okay.
it shocked me. I was like, you thinking about little old me like that? Like you hate me like that? That's crazy. Yeah. But no, like I resonate with that. For the people or for the men who come to you, how do you get them to be more open?
Yeah, here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. It's like I feel that people always feel like you have to say something to people. Like what I mean is, you always feel like you got to have the right thing to say, or let's say you got a friend that's going through something or somebody going through a hard time. You don't have to have the right thing to say. Just listen.
Just be there.
Just listen.
Yeah.
People open up to me because I know how to listen. I don't have to talk. I'm willing to listen to everything you got to say, and when it's my turn to talk, I'm gonna ask that powerful question that's gonna take you there. So people just feel comfortable because one, people know I'm genuine. They know that I'm not trying to I don't have an ulterior motive. I'm not using your information to go and tell everybody.
Right.
Everything is confidential. And I treat my work with dignity, and I treat it seriously. So people know that, and they feel that like by the time I get on the call with somebody, within 15 minutes, they telling me their life because they can trust me. So it just comes with the skill. It's called generous listening. Like just listen to people.
I didn't know it had a name because I have that effect on people as well. I do. I feel like because people always feel energy, and that's one of the most important things that I see in my life. So it's like I like to surround myself with positivity and making sure that people in my circle are like constantly doing stuff too. Like I love to include my people in everything that I do. Like I seen a post literally today. It was with Issa Rae, and she was talking about networking and networking with people who are across from you and not above you. Because I know a lot of people who are above you might not even want you in the same space. That's a fact. But if you work together with the people in your community and y'all can get some popping for real, like y'all all good. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, don't sleep on the energy part either, because I have an assessment that I give to my clients, and it measures your level of energy, right?
Okay.
So what I mean is I'll just focus on the bottom 2 levels. So so 7 levels of total energy. 7. On the bottom levels, it's called catabolic and anabolic energy. Catabolic energy, real quick, I want to do it. I ain't gonna, never mind.
Go ahead.
So stab yourself in the ribs real quick, like hard. Hold it.
Oh.
and try to like super hard. Like,
I think it's hard. It feel hard.
Right? So now, if you were to ask me a question right now, it'd be a hell of a lot harder than what you were just doing previously, like throughout this whole time we were talking.
Yeah, probably.
So that's how catabolic energy works. It works as if it's distracting. It's
right.
Like, damn, what is that? It's stressful. And anabolic energy, you can stop now. Okay. Anabolic energy is like positive, good energy. Like feel good. Like, oh, I can do this. I feel good today. The assessment measures people's anabolic or the catabolic energy that they put on their side. And the bottom two levels are victim and competition. So I'll break it down real quick. Have you ever been around somebody that's always just like negative?
Yes.
Like negative, right? You know who that person is immediately.
Yeah.
Just like that, we can call it like Eeyore, like from Winnie the Pooh. You know what that is?
Oh, the
right.
donkey.
I don't know. All right, so the one that got I don't know, man. Like just low level, like.
Yeah, he's depressed.
That's victim energy.
Yeah.
And people live with that all the time. And that's why people don't have when people are living in that lower level of that Eeyore energy, they wonder why they don't attract opportunities. Because they always, I don't know how it's going to work, man. It's going to be bad.
I'm already knowing.
You know, so that assessment tracks how much on a percentage out of 100, how much of that you have on a daily basis. So
are people typically surprised at what they see?
Oh hell yeah, they like, damn, like I'm always like that. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, so do you give this assessment to them like straight out the gate or after you had some time to talk to them?
So again, it all depends on the client, but I like to do it right there in the middle. So we start working on some things first, and then I give that assessment, and again, it breaks it down all the way from 1 to level 7.
Wow. What is the top tier? Like or because in my head is like when you said that I thought of a pyramid. Yeah. But what's the top?
So the top level 7 is like, I would just kind of describe it as like bliss. Like regardless of what happens, how it happens, whatever it happens, you don't get that job. It's cool. It wasn't meant for me.
Right.
Like, that type of energy, and mainly living in that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen somebody get to that level?
I think that we all experience that level. Mm-hmm. It's just at different times. Like, it depends on if you know how to get yourself to that level. So you can achieve that level by doing a lot of different things, like, music, meditation, journaling. It's a lot of different ways that you can get to that level, but you got to know what it feels like, what it looks like, and how you get there. That's why you need that coach. That you need that road. You need that roadmap. Yeah. If you ain't got that, you get it when you get it, and you don't.
Oh man, on the Christmas episode, we talked about the GPS and how I use it everywhere. I don't care because even if it's a familiar place, if you have something going on that you don't know about and that GPS does, and you just be like, I'm not gonna use it today, you might be stuck somewhere because you wanna, I don't know, you wanna not take something that's literally catered and tailored to you, similar to his coaching business, like. I mean, come on, pick up what I'm putting down. What books, practices, or resources have like the biggest impact on your personal journey?
I'm gonna give a different book. A lot of people say the same books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Whatever. Y'all need to read this book. It's called Psycho-Cybernetics.
Okay.
You ever heard of that before?
I haven't.
Bet. So, Psycho-Cybernetics is a book, and it talks about, as I mentioned, a part of my story is like my self-image, how I view myself. And Psycho-Cybernetics, in very short, it's a book about a medical doctor, and he does like facial surgeries to people, and like kind of like gives them facelifts and like make them look better externally.
Okay.
But even though he's given this external change to these people, they were still feeling the same level of low confidence and low vibration that they were before. So basically, that book tells you how can you change your self-image. And also, how can you start executing and achieving the things that you have, that you want in your life?
When you said that, as soon as you said that, I automatically thought of Beyonce Pretty Hurts. Because have you ever seen that video? Oh, my gosh. Okay. So, basically, she's getting plastic surgery. Her mom is putting her in, like, all these pageants and everything, like beauty pageants or whatever. And she's like, you shine a light on whatever's worse and everything, but, you can't fix something that you can't see because your soul needs the surgery. All right, cool. And that, I'm lyrically inclined, so it's like, when you said that, that's automatically was like...
Same thing.
Yeah. And it's like, I know a lot of people probably look at themselves on the outside first, but it really does start with your inside, because once you tell yourself, you know what, I actually do look nice today, And then all this
changes.
It is like you said in the beginning. It's that simple mindset shift that you have to instill in yourself. But that's nothing that nobody can give you off bat. You have to at least have that for yourself first. And then once you be like, all right, I think I'm ready for the next step. Then you go to him.
Tap in.
Oh man, that's crazy. I love that song. But anywho, so as far as expanding on your business and your community, what do you see for your future, like in that?
That's a good question. I definitely am planning on making more impact. Right now, I'm doing a lot of group one-to-one and group coaching right now. But I actually started off speaking, but my plan is to return to the speaking space coming up here within 2025. Just broadening my reach, broadening my impact, making sure that it doesn't necessarily have to be men, but everyone has the shifted mindset that they can accomplish and do whatever they want, because you can.
It's possible,
it's
yeah.
possible. But if I were to paint a vision, I typically stuck with the title world-renowned speaker and coach. So I want to continue on this path of making it happen step by step and just enjoying the journey along the way.
What are some of the places that you want to travel to?
That's a good question. I would say Africa. I haven't been to Spain. That's a good question.
The only reason I had asked because you said world renowned, so I was like, is he trying to travel outside?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the furthest clients that I have right now are in Romania.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and that's it's been virtual, so I haven't actually traveled there, but
right. But you still touching people there.
I still got my hand over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So definitely wanna. That's a good point. So no, I haven't actually thought about that, but I will after this.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Okay. So, what legacy? I know you spoke on that with your future family, but what legacy do you see for your work? How do you think it'll impact people as far as that? Like,
yeah, that's a good question as well. I don't personally want to define my own legacy because I think that's kind of corny, low key. Because it's like, this is how I want people to see me. I don't want people to see me other than who I am. You know what I'm saying? So.
Boy, they be speaking.
That was a bar, I ain't gonna lie. But when I think about legacy, I got a message the other day, and one of my clients told me that if he never responded to my message, then he wouldn't be as excited about life that he would be today. And like stuff like that is like, that's what I want to be remembered for.
I would have cried. I ain't gonna
lie. But the thing about it is, it's like, I called it a coincidence, but it really wasn't, because I consistently try to ask God, like, God, can you show me what you want me to be doing? Show me that this is the path that you want me to be on. Got that message the next day.
Yeah.
So when you talk about legacy, I want to be able to make real impact. I'm not talking about, and no shade to anybody that's in the coaching space that just focuses on like dating and stuff like that, because I think that can actually mean something too. But I want to be able to say, like, really and truly say that I've changed millions of lives. Like, seriously. Not just for the temporary, not just for the time being, but forever.
Yeah. Like, they'll remember your name.
They remember. Like, I don't want to work with my clients forever. Like, I don't want to have somebody that gets coached with me for years. I want to coach them for a few months, maybe a year at max, and you go on and you live your best life. I don't want you to be dependent upon me. That's
the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I look at it, even when you said that, I looked at it like how when people go to college or they do a certain job for a certain amount of time, I don't believe somebody should be stuck in the same routine year after year after year. I feel like there's no growth in that, and you can't really expand or see who you're meant to be or where you're meant to be if you're still stuck in the same space all the time.
Facts.
Like, it's all good to, hey, what's up? I remember you, da-da-da. But I don't want you to stay in the same place forever. That's not cool.
It's comfortable.
It's too comfortable.
You gotta get out your comfort level.
Yeah. I think some people, really all of that settles on fear. When people be like, okay, I'm at this place and I know it pays fine and it's getting me through. Yeah. And it's like, but think about the potential of what you could be doing if you actually just apply yourself just a little bit.
You know what's funny about that? When I was in 2022, that was my first real job, Fortune 500 company. I was making decent money.
Yeah.
But if I would have never quit that job, I wouldn't be here today. Exactly. I quit that job without no plan. Now I'm not advising nobody to do that because it was ugly. You know what I'm saying? It was ugly out here. But if you do it, you will learn a lot about yourself, and again, you get out of that comfort of whatever that situation was.
Y'all heard it. As y'all know, this is the part of the episode where we gotta leave. But do you have any other advice or any takeaways that you want to share with them?
Advice or takeaways?
Mm-hmm.
Let me think on this one.
All right.
I want to say something good. I think I would just say, in whatever context this makes the most sense, just don't be afraid to bet on yourself and invest in yourself too. Because if you don't invest in yourself, nobody else is.
They're not. For
real. Like, nobody else is going to put their time, their energy, their money, or anything into you because you don't take yourself seriously. At the end of the day, ain't nobody coming to save you. Ain't nobody coming to get you. Ain't nobody going to come and drop $1 million in your pocket. Gonna come drop $1 million, whatever you're looking for. They're not going to just give it to you. So don't be afraid to invest for information. Don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone. And ultimately just continue developing and also enjoying the journey while you're on it as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, including me sometimes, we want the instant gratification. Like, we start a business and we start something new and we wanted to jump and pop off immediately. But you got to also enjoy the ride because it wouldn't be worth it if it just happened that quick. You want to be able to look back and say, damn, like, I really came a long way. Like, I remember when I first shot that first video and it was ugly. Like, you want to be able to say that and then also be able to get that motivation to somebody else. So enjoy the journey, look around, invest in yourself, and don't be comfortable.
All right. Y'all, even, I'm going to just piggyback one more time, I promise you. All right, so when you just said even, what did you just say? Wow, that's crazy. As soon as it came. Okay, so the quickness of it. Just because you don't get it in that moment, I feel like even, you know how like songs might be popular for the moment, but then you have those classics, those hits, because you can see how much it was orchestrated and everything. Take your time. Make sure it's right. Make sure it's how you want it to be. Don't let nobody trick you up out your spot. You can do it. You're able to do it. You are enough. And even in the mental health space, make sure that you get what you need from yourself first. You cannot pour from an empty cup. And once you are good, your cup is, solid. You ain't got no holes at the bottom where it's going to leak out. Go to that next tier. Go to your next available option so you can still excel in whatever area that you're in. But I want to thank you for coming out here today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. So I'm Taisha. This was Jaylin. And we promise we won't bite our tongue. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. And we out.